Hello, welcome. My name is Monstrosity, and I am here today making a EU5 Ottomans guide for patch 1.0.8, which is currently still in beta, but towards the end of it, so I doubt there can be many changes to it. So this should be a good guide for release. As you can see, it's year 1414. I've taken all the Mamluks and their subjects, pretty much all the Balkans, except for this little bit here, most of Georgia, and as you can tell, I've got a ton of subjects, 114 to be exact, and with the decentralization changes, most of them are loyal. I would say about 2/3. The ones that aren't are mostly because of me force converting, force culture, or just the fact that I have a ton of subjects, which I'm pushing because I'm trying to get as much as I can before the hegemony, which increases antagonism gained. So I'm trying to blob as much as I can before then, and then I'll worry about annexing. If I could go back, I would start annexing the coast a little bit sooner, probably like 10-15 years ago. It wouldn't be as bad, but I still think it's pretty good. So, as you can see in this game, ground power is not that great, but I'm absolutely loaded. As you can see, my legitimacy isn't maxed out at the moment because my looter just died, but I'm making 127. If I was at max, I'd probably be making 200, 250 a month. And as you see, my Diplo is already maxed, so it's 101 on itself. So if I didn't have to max that because all my subjects, I'd be making even more money. Basically, what I'm trying to say is I'm loaded. I'm making so much money from all these subjects, it's ridiculous. And as you can see, pretty much all of my RGOs are already maxed at this point. The ones that are not maxed are the ones I just took from a war that just ended right before the stream, for this video. So, pretty good. My economy's falling, and I've made some extra markets over here, Atina, Selenik, and Manissa, because they had low market access, so this should help. Cyprus made their own market over here, works for me. And that's it. So let's go into the guide and show you how you can replicate this. Alright, here we are in a new game. I'll show you step by step all my starting moves and why I do them and what I'm aiming to push for beginning mid-game. And if I can figure it out, I will try to put captions and sections in the YouTube video. If they're not there, it's because I'm too stupid to figure it out. So hopefully they are there by the time you can see this. This is what I do. You don't have to do this. I always do trade subsidizing. I just don't want to micromanage it. Admirals and generals, I don't feel like signing those, re-signing those. It's just too much. Alright, so disclaimer, this guide should be kind of step by step. So if you don't like step-by-step guides, or you like figure it out on your own, this probably isn't for you. Maybe you can skip around to certain portions. And this is not any run will work for this strategy type guide. The first steps, my opening moves, are kind of RNG based on what happens with the Germiyanids and his leader. If he dies too soon, you will have to restart, but after that, you're good to go. It is the only part that you would need to restart at. So we'll start off with the estates and the values. This is what I do. I'm not sure if this is the perfect min-max strategies, but it definitely works for me. Some of them I know more than others, so with 1.08 patch, we are adding loyalty to subjects max plus 30, and that is what we're looking for here. And that's how I can have so many subjects and them be happy. If you go centralization, you get -20, so it's a 50 overall swing, which makes centralization very hard for having subjects, even a small amount of them. But a small amount of them usually works, but we're going to have a ton of them. So we want to push decentralization as fast as possible, so I'll be doing that with my estates. We want to go to innovative, we like literacy. Humanist for the tolerance of heathens, and then the antagonism, religion influence, also good. Aristocracy, you got discipline, nobles in towns, helps with your economy, so I'm going to go for that. This one's kind of hard. I like to go for serfdom, but it can be quite hard to actually get pushing to serfdom because you have so much that's already pushing towards the freed subjects. So this one I'll leave up to you. I'm going to try to go for serfdom, but feel free to do whatever you want. Serfdom is definitely better, but free subjects isn't all that bad. Then I want to go for conciliatory, mostly for dip rep, so you get reduced antagonism. And these are kind of misleading. I don't really understand them, so I don't really deal with it. Then the opinion impact for shared borders as well. And then quality, quantity. I don't really worry too much about these. I don't know which one's better, to be honest, so pick whichever. Offensive, siege ability, no brainer. And then land and naval. These are pretty much going to push themselves. Naval is going to be really good for proximity because you're going to have so much coast. So once you can get a navy up, that's going to be what you want to go for, at least until you get maritime up. And then maybe swap to land for these inner ones. I haven't gotten that far yet to decide if I want to swap to those, but eventually you want to be naval, and then maybe swap to land. And then traditional economy, that's just what you want to do, what I'm going to do at the beginning. And then maybe towards end game, we'll swap to capital. And then communalism, we definitely want to go for communalism for sure. You want the revoke privilege cost, estates equilibrium, and then less rebellions is always good. And jurisprudence, research, efficiency of cabinet, and then clergy, estate, equilibrium, which also gives research speed. So that's what you want. So that's what I'm going to be going for, and that's what I'm going to be basing my estate decisions upon. So serfdom, and then conciliatory, dip capacity, we're going to need that. Dip rep, going to need that. You could swap, if you don't want to try to push for serfdom, which is going to be hard, you could also go for autocracy, which will give you crown power and aristocracy. It's a pretty good option, so I'll let you choose there. And then the nobility, we are going to go with aristocracy, army levy size, combat efficiency, noble levy size. This is a no-brainer. It makes them stronger, but we can deal with that later when they're rich and we can revoke it. But at least for the early game, it's definitely very good. Aristocracy, this helps with your agendas and stability. And then serfdom, less food. Innovative, taking that. Again, I'm giving a lot of these out. We can worry about taking them back later. This one could be good for decentralization, but you really don't need it. You're going to have so much from all the subjects that you release. I don't need to give them even more. And then here, the only one I'm going to give, well, there's multiple. So communalism, for sure. Take that. Conciliatory, definitely. Max diplomats, that helps. And I believe that's it for the ulama. Burghers, we will eventually give Rotarites, but not until we hit 100 decentralization. We are going to give these guys monthly development and innovative. And the commoners, we are going to want this decentralization and more cabinet members, so we will give that to them. And that's it for them. A lot of these have free subjects, which makes it hard for you to actually push free subjects. +10. And +10. This one I usually revoke just because the max RGO size. So we're just going to go ahead and do that now. In the Ulama, we're going to put Demi in the cabinet for the +10 humanist. And that's it. Then the tribes, communalism, I'm going to take that. And eventually I'm going to give heathen beliefs, but as you can see, I'm tanking my legitimacy. And we're going to give decentralization. So, as you can see, ability's not happy, and our legitimacy is very low. So if you get unlucky, you could have a disaster due to your low legitimacy, and that is the other instance where you could have to restart. I've done a bunch of runs like this, and I've never had an issue, but if you have really bad RNG, it could be bad. But it's not that big of a deal. If you want, you can give those estates out slower once you have more legitimacy. I'll let you decide if you want to do that. And then first thing, we're going to push for decentralization. We're going to pick this 95 guy. He's great. And then next we are going to strengthen the government, get some extra legitimacy. And we're going to pick this guy. These are all standard guys that you're going to get. And then this one, it doesn't matter too much because as soon as you get these lands, you're going to be using him to integrate. So typically I just pick a military one. I'll have him convert Sunni, and then pick the highest guy there. That guy, you can probably do something better with him, but it's not that bad. And he won't be there for long. So with that done, we can go to our economy. This is my standard economy setup. You want to move just one past where you're not getting inflation, so where you're getting just tiniest amount of inflation, because you can get a parliament option there that will give you a unique selection to reduce inflation, and you can have higher minting, which will let you mint for a ton. And then I never tax Ulama for research, then put everything else on automatic. I never pay for stability in early game. I don't pay for Diplo in the early game. Max cost of court, you want max legitimacy at all times, so just never move this. And as you can see, we're already plus 18, which can change after we unpause. And then what I like to do is, after that, we're going to go to RGOs, deal with our starting cash, and I'm going to build up the lumbers. Get our building material lower, and then we are also going to build sawmills. So we want as much lumber as we can get. And then after that, you still have a little bit more, so you can deal with some needs if you want, or money, whatever you want to choose. Basically, I typically go for needs. And then research, we can go over that a little bit. The main thing I'm focusing here is maximum RGO size, the minting, Diplo capacity. You're going to need that pretty quickly. Institution growth, all that helps. Rivals, Byzantium, and then I usually just pick anyone, Germiyanids or Cilicia, doesn't matter. We're hopefully going to subjugate him soon, so I'll just pick him. We'll have to repick it later. And then for the heir, there's going to be no nobles that you can have a kid with. So to prevent a regency, I just go ahead and marry a lowborn, which again, legitimacy is super down. So You may want to delay that with estates, whatever you decide. This is how I do it. So after that, you can marry off your daughter. You can pick whatever. I just pick something random. I don't like the claim throne CB, so I just marry her off. Then everyone else is men, who there's no one that's of age of nobility to marry, so I just don't do anything with them. Then that's bug. Alright, that's pretty much it there. So first step, day 1, very important. You are going to insult Germiyanids. I'm going to call him Gary because I can't bother saying that every time. So send him an insult because their relations are too high. You don't want to stab it when you go to war with him. And then you're going to improve opinion with Bulgaria because you already have antagonism at the start. So you're going to want to reduce that. So try to prevent coalitions. So, sorry. After that, you're going to move this unit here in preparations for the war. And like I said, this bit is a little bit RNG. These guys are disloyal, as you can see, which means they won't leave their lands to help. But if this leader dies, they all go free. So the plan here is to annex this guy before the leader dies, so you get freed subjects. So I'm going to try to do that. See if this guy doesn't die on the first take. I may have to skip and create a new game and redo this until this doesn't happen. I would say you can get this to happen 60% of the time or so before you annex him before the leader dies. And that also helps following this guide on exactly how to do it as fast as humanly possible to reduce the amount of RNG. But at the end of the day, it is RNG. Sometimes he takes a long time to die, sometimes he dies day 1. So we'll see. So if the video cuts, it's because he died. So everything is done here. Oh, sorry. One last thing, and this is a debate some people have about whether or not you should accept Greek or not. Believe it or not, 61% are Greek. And your current levy size is 6,000. You accept this, you'll get more levies, a bunch of other things, and I'm going to cut this here, and now I'm going to go and compare whether or not accepting Greek day 1 is worth it, because it will put you over the cultural limit by a lot, and you won't get under it for a long time, probably 1420 to 1450 if you're good. So we'll cut to that, we'll do some comparisons, and then we'll decide. So I'm going to start a new game just so I can compare those two. So I'll see you there. Alright, we're back for our comparison. This is the same game, I just copied the save file out just so I didn't have to redo this a million times. So I haven't done anything. So this is the population satisfaction map mode without accepting Greek as a culture at the moment. And we are making 1448. This could change based on the month tick. I haven't done anything since the last time it said I was at 18. So we are going to go ahead and get a notepad out and make some comparisons once the month ticks. So right now we are going to go ahead and not accept it and let the month tick to recalculate everything. Alright, this is the Rise of the Turks situation, which if you're playing Ottomans you're probably familiar with, but it gives you a lot of CBs and other events here we can talk about. So making 30.35 right now off the jump. So 1 month, 30.35 income. I have 6.8k levies, and the pop satisfaction is very low except for this one area here. Alright, so we should get more levies, naval levies, pop satisfaction, and just general good things once we swap. So we will, just for the sake of it, let one more month tick, just to make sure there's nothing crazy going on here. Alright, 1 June, so now we're down to 1041, so the whole income thing could be a little bit off, but we'll say 10 on the second month. And the levies are going to be the same. Oh, 6.3. Alright, so that is the not accepted comparison there. So I will see you on the accepted comparison. Alright, we're back to the old save, and we are going to accept the culture. So as you can see, we're above. So our efficiency of the cabinet is down 33%. These two we don't really care about right now. It's not that big of a deal. I mean, you'll integrate a little bit slower and yada yada yada, but we're going to be having some of these subjects. It's really not all that bad. So again, we're going to let 1 month tick. Make sure we pause. Now it's 3171 on the first month. And our levies are 10.1k. Not quite double, but pretty far up there. And everyone's still not happy. Let the next month tick. Pause. Back down to 1051. So that doesn't seem to do a whole much, but our levies are at 9.4k. And that's only going to go up once we start conquering up here. And then, as you can see, culture's location, a lot of this is Greek still. All this is still Greek. So, in my opinion, it's worth it. The cabinet is not, the cabinet efficiency is not ideal, but I do it. You can make your decision if you want to do it. Some say yes, some say don't. I do it, and then we can fix this as fast as possible. But the increased levies is pretty big, especially in 1.08 where you have a 20-year cooldown on your levies, so if you have any bad fights, good. Alright, so we're already here, so we can use this save to try our first attempt. So again, if it cuts, it's because it failed. And hopefully I don't have to repeat myself 20 times to make this happen. Alright, so 1 June, first thing I'm going to do is press claims. This is a very good CB, it's cheap. One thing I will say, if you load a game in, this price is going to be wrong until the month ticks. So don't use this until a month tick after a load, or it's going to be way more than it actually is. So, Kutia, whatever that was. And then sometimes they ally the Sahib Ataids. Probably butchered that. So that's why I keep the second diplomat, but since he didn't, we can go ahead and improve relation for antagonism. And then we will go ahead and set for automatic. I just like to do that. And declare. Claims of province. In this, I've got down to a science on the exact steps you want to do. So we moved that guy here to go here so he can prevent any levies from spawning there. And then we wait for our actual levies to spawn. Move them there, make sure we balance everything. Move these guys here. They're going to fight here. Alright. In here, you're gonna get a bunch of events at the start. Here you could get legitimacy prestige, but I would rather have the pop satisfaction. And then here, sometimes you get these events where you can get free vassals. You may or may not get this. If you do, great, try for it. If not, oh well, I guess. So same thing, move these guys here. If you want to go a little bit slower, it's a little bit better. Issue is trying to pause when everything's happening. So they're going to fight there. All right, these guys are going to get here, combine them. You can split, put this 3k there, split this guy again, put this guy there. You can try to take all these towns, ignore this fort, but you want to take this town, this town, this town, this town, and this town, and these two towns, and then you can usually peace out. Sometimes you don't need this town, but go for it just in case. Again, you need to peace out as soon as you humanly possibly can so the leader doesn't die. So now that everyone's moving there, we'll go ahead. So they did not accept, so, but it is a free CB, so after this war, if this was a game I'm going to continue, I would just go ahead and fight them immediately after. So, speed 4. Alright, they're going to take that city, they're taking that city, these guys are moving. They're going to move the army there, so I already know that, so I'm going to move that there. My cat's on my mouse pad, so I apologize there. So, we took that city, like I said, they're going to move there. So, we're going to go ahead and move here. Their army is usually here. Sometimes there, but usually there. But basically, you just don't want to fight them ever. And then they move to this city. And this guy, you want to move here because you're going to want to go over there. But you need a big enough army to where the AI doesn't think they can fight you. So to prevent any unnecessary losses. We're going to go for Humanist. Alright, move this army over here to this city. You're going to split this once this army is almost there. That way they don't try to fight you. And then what you want to do when you're in this war is go ahead and select everything. And the second this is above 0, accept it. So if it's 1, don't get greedy, just accept it. Again, once that leader dies, you're SOL. So go ahead and merge these two armies and put them there. They're big enough that they don't think that they can fight them. Again, we're going to check. Basically every city take, check again. And then there you go. I can take all their provinces. I'll even take some money. Do not, I repeat, do not try to subjugate them. Just don't do it. Here it costs too much. Sometimes this is less than 100. I don't know what causes that. But do not subjugate them because once their leader dies, you'll lose all those subjects. So full annex and peace out. Take a little bit of money if you have war score. But as soon as possible, peace out. So now we have all of their subjects and we're happy. So that was first attempt there, and that is the start. So next moves on 1 June 1339. You're gonna be able to use press claims again, and depending what happens on Byzantium, you're gonna go ahead and use that on them if available. Sometimes Bulgaria and Serbia will attack them, and if they're in the middle of a war, then if you take provinces, they're going to get stuck in war waiting to take provinces they want. So just honestly, most of the time it's better just to attack someone else and wait. And I've got to go play with my cat for a bit, and then I'll come back and explain the rest of the guide. So I'll see you then. Alright, the cat tax has been paid. So, right where we left off, I like to make a bunch of subjects, as you can probably tell from the beginning of the vid. I'm going to go ahead and release Usak as fiefdom. Basically, you want to even out fiefdom and vassals because they have different pools of shared strength versus the overlords, so that's how you can help keep them sedated. Go ahead and release them. And then we are also going to release Ottoman Karisher. We're going to keep that, and we are going to keep this. And we will go to core those. So, this press claims here only works if you yourself are directly beside the target. So, we have Usak as a subject. We cannot claim one of these provinces. It's kind of annoying, but it is what it is. So we will try to sneak our ways over here. And then we are still targeting our neighboring Germiyanids. So we can use it on them, and we could use it on Candarids or Ahis. Whichever one's easiest, which one you're going to go for later on. Like I said, Byzantium is Byzantine Empire is your next target if possible, if they are not at war with Bulgaria and Serbia. And honestly, I think it is beneficial if Serbia and Bulgaria fight them, because they'll take pretty much this land, and maybe like up to here. Sometimes they'll take a little bit of this. Most of the times it's just over here. But they won't take the capital, which is your main goal. And they make Byzantine smaller, so you can full annex and keep Epirus as a vassal, so you can improve culture opinion, which will reduce your accepted culture penalty, because it reduces the cost for Greek. So, as soon as you can do that, the better. If they don't fight them, you're going to need 2 wars. If you do fight them, you only need 1 war. So, between wars, you're going to have plenty of money. There's be a couple events that cost money, so you don't want to be at near 0, but definitely want to spend your money. And I should have done this earlier. Build a mason Iznik. There is a stone RGO there. So again, you're gonna try to build up your building materials, and there's one there as well. A reason why I like to keep this area for myself is because it's not that bad proximity wise. And then also has 2 lumber and a stone that you can use, so you can build those up as well. So we will do that. And for this game, I'm going to go for Candarids and build up my RGOs. I'm not worried about marketplace or anything like that really. For now, it's just RGOs and try to build up my economy. So I am going to skip ahead. Nothing important is going to happen. I'm going to fight Candarids, so I'm going to have to increase my diplo spending to get a diplomat, because I don't want to take these guys off, so I want to reduce the antagonism. Then I'm going to fight them, I'm going to take their land, and then I'm going to wait to see what happens with the Byzantines. So once we are ready for our next decision, pretty much on 1 June 1339, I will cut back, and we can discuss the next plans. See you there. So this is another event, coins in our name. You always want to choose this. That's why we have a little bit of money there. Legitimacy and minting threshold, so we can recover that legitimacy. It's just good, so pick that. Another event that takes money, 46 gold. You want development, of course. Definitely don't want this. Spend the money. Another event, basically centralization or innovative. Centralization is not good, but with all the subjects we're going to have, it's not that bad. I mean, we're already at 1.03, which means we can push to 100 already. And then we're going to have more subjects, so it's really not that bad. So that innovative push is actually good. Otherwise, you can fix your estate happiness, but they're going to be happy enough by the time we need them to be for them to not rebel. So pick this one. Another event, plus 20% Guzat, which is how we're going to make them happy before they rebel. Negative legitimacy prestige, not good, but worth it. Take it. Another event, negative 10 Guzat, but we get some burgers from Genoa and tax efficiency. So take it. Again, they'll be happy before they rebel. Another event you get is the Fall of Ahis. You get a CB. You can, that event we got earlier where they decided they would become our vassal, this helps out apparently, but likely you're never going to get that event to begin with. So just get the CB. Take it if you got time, which I don't really, before June 1339 to use a press CB on Byzantium. Fight them. Otherwise, fight them later. But take the CB. Another event. Definitely take it. It's very cheap. A lot of good benefits. Take it. Alright, welcome back. It is 1 June 1339. I've already pressed claims. Forgot to record earlier. But I pressed claims on this location here for Byzantine. They are not at war yet. Unfortunately, Serbia did not take this area, so I won't be able to full annex them in one war. It will take 2 wars. So a little bit unlucky there, and unlucky for me. They also still have their fort. I would say more than half the time they delete this fort, and then the other half the time Bulgaria and Serbia attack and take this area. So hopefully you're luckier than I am, but I was not. I have 2 diplomats because I'm going to declare on both people at the same time, I believe. And yeah, that's pretty much it. You want to make sure that you have your Diplo spinning up in time to get diplomats to declare the war on 1 June. So just make sure you plan ahead. I don't want to take these off to get diplomats because I need this AE or antagonism to go down to 0 because we're going to get a bunch of it. And then I also want to move to someone else. So if I don't fight Ahis, who is allied to Hominids, which is an easy war for sure, it's just distracting. They're actually in a union. Usually they're just allied, but they're also just in a straight up union this time. But Byzantium's going to have basically no armies. They're going to have basically no armies. Trebizond will, in this patch at least, come over here and attack you, but you're going to have 10k levies. It's not going to matter. The decision I have to make is if I want to fight Ahis and Hamid at the same time. It's a split war. I've got a siege, etc. I'm not going to record the war. It's going to take too long to siege this down. Basically, I'm going to rush for the siege and then annex everyone. This is going to be another siege if I go at the same time. And there's going to be a ton of AE, which will mean I need to decide if I want to take this at the same time. But I do want that sooner rather than later. So I'm going to cut to the end of the war and we can figure it out. As you can see, I did take Candarids, and normally I like to split them up to 1 province minors because it's easier to annex them later. Issue is it was a ton of AE to do that in this early game. It really hurts because you want to take as much Byzantine land as possible. So I just took the whole thing. So I'll see you once the war is done, and we'll explain the next steps. When you're integrating someone, you will always get these events. Always choose the more integration. Alright, I'm in the middle of war, but we got parliament. So we want to choose not the capital, because if you choose the capital, you will get centralization. If you don't, you'll get decentralization. So that's what we're going for. That's what we're going to choose. Ties to neighbors, we'll take the extra diplomats. That's obvious. Gravel road network, we're not going to be building any roads, and it would push us to centralization, which we do not want. So pick ties to neighbors or whatever other option is available. Then after you do that, the early parliaments are really easy to pass, and the things I do is I change all the laws that I can as soon as possible. So sometimes you get unlucky, and this time I did. I got to change policy one instead of like, oh, more serfdom or more aristocracy or whatever. So when you can, or if you don't care about the stab hit, which you should at the moment because Black Death is coming, it's probably going to put you negative. So if you can, change the law. There's a bunch of laws that you can change that are good. I don't have any particular order, but I basically just base it off of values that I want to go to. So here I would eventually, or right now, change the conciliatory. Civil society for conciliatory. Here I would go for powerful harem, just because crown power and conciliatory. Some like public harem for the monthly legitimacy. That's in the aristocracy. That's a decent option as well, so leave that up to you. Tax farming gives capital economy and tax efficiency and reduces equilibrium, so I usually swap this to land acquisition for the RGO size and expanding time. Centralization, but we're going to have so much decentralization, it's not going to matter. This one is up to you. Removing the tolerance of heathen is pretty good, but I don't think it's that big of a deal there. This one, noble levy, is pretty good. Move to quality and you get combat efficiency versus 2.5% levy size, which some people say it's not that good. So noble might be something to try there. And then here I usually move to Itinerant court, because this gives prestige and lowborn, yada yada. This proximity cost to land is great, so this is probably the first one I'm choosing. And then this one, communalism, is good. Whenever you have max of that, if you do, you can maybe swap it out for trade efficiency or something. And that's mainly it. I'll usually go to no censorship as well, just so I can get the humanist. Individualism isn't good, but the humanist is, and the innovative is very good, and tolerance is also very good. That's usually the first one I do, I think. So when you can, change the laws. This time I didn't really get the choice, so I'm just going to let this ride out. Once you get to zero antagonism with Bulgaria and Serbia, go ahead and remove these diplomats, and then you're going to move to Wallachia or someone else with high, or who's going to be high. So pretty much in the Balkan area, if one of these is about to join, you can consider that. Georgia, they can get pretty high, so I think Wallachia is the biggest second option, and then go from there. So I did decide to fight Ahis during the same time, so we're going to vassalize them. Very important, like I said earlier, you can only use press claims if you are directly adjacent to them. You, not a subject, you. So we're going to take this. So now we're beside Eretinids. And then we're going to pretty much deal with that. And then we are probably also going to take Hominids. But I'm going to play around with that and go from there. And I'll see you at the next end of a war. But like I said, this is important. Take this province. You could take that one, but this one, I like this one. So you can give this back later after you no longer need to be adjacent to it. But for now, take it and then subjugate them. I mean, they're basically one province anyways, so you don't need to worry about that. I'm also going to do the same with the Hominids here. So vassalize. Take this because I want to be adjacent to these guys here, antique, because I'm not going to take them because they were not co-belligerated, and I don't need the extra AE. And we can fight them later because we will be adjacent. So here's a downside for the Gary strategy is the Pope almost always, not always, but I would say 60% of the time will do a crusade against Aenids. Luckily, they don't really know how to fight you, so it's usually pretty simple. Just fight off a couple fleets and your vassals will help you out. So it's pretty easy. Just watch out, they will invade here. And that's usually the extent of it, nothing too big. And I'll start recording if I see anything big, but I'm almost done with this war. I'm just waiting for this siege to end. So as you can see here in my game, Bulgaria has declared one Byzantine, but I've already occupied everything, so I just need to make sure that they don't get any occupations. There is a bug where they could get this occupation, so I will probably send all my army over there just to make sure it doesn't happen, and if it does, I'll be very sad. So try to rush everything because they will eventually declare war. If you're both at war at the same time, you're going to be stuck in a need enough war score and provinces we want battle. Alright, so the war is over. I am contemplating on just trying to take all of them. As you can see, it's a ton of AE. Here's a little trick that I should have been doing all along. It might help with my current situation. Get your best Diplo guy and have him increase rep here. Diplomatic endeavors. Activate it. Untick, just to make sure it activates. I haven't tested if it does it, but I like to untick. And then after that, it helps a tiny amount. I was really hoping it would get Venice out. It did not. So this is basically your choice. You can risk the coalition. I mean, we're almost at the end of the year, so I think I'm just gonna wait till just before the end of the year and click this, and then I would say at least Venice is out for sure. And then the rest are small guys. You could actually probably beat this coalition. Trebizond is going to be on a piece, and everyone else is just kind of but the important part is we're going to get Epirus as a subject, and then we can do ask for cultural increase opinion. I think the only reason I'm able to do this is because I had that parliament that gave me extra diplomats, and I've been increasing relations with all these guys around. I don't know if that actually makes a difference. We only really did Wallachia, Halit. They might actually be in the coalition anyways, so yeah, maybe I could have done it anyways. Genoa's being in here is not great. So in the end, a smart move would be to not do this, but since I'm not a smart person, I am going to do it. There is an exploit you can do to get out of any coalition if you want to use that I will share at the end of the video. I don't like to use it anymore because it just feels like cheating. If the coalition happens, I just fight it. But that's about it. So I'm going to let the month tick till just before the end of the year. That's good. I don't want to accidentally let it go past. And that is all of the Byzantines. We'll go ahead and take some money too. This is a poor choice. I'm doing it anyways. Always keep the Patriarchate, because otherwise you're going to get this -2 tolerance of heathen beliefs, which is terrible because you have so much Orthodox population. So you're going to want this +2, It doesn't stack for each one, but it's just a base +2. Always choose it, please. And here, we're going to subjugate pretty much everything. These guys are already our subjects. And the issue I noticed in 1.08 is a lot of times we're not the dominant. Especially if Retinids becomes independent, then they pretty much always stay the dominant, so you won't actually be able to request that they increase the cultural opinion. But in this case we are. So we're going to go ahead and see if they'll let us. I'll probably have to let a month tick, just because it's going to have to change. So we'll do that after. But if Retinids is the cultural leader for you, then you're going to have to wait until you fight them. So now this piece is done. Guess what time it is? More subjects. Never do custom. It makes them too big. You want... Alright, so I'm at war. Can I get out yet? The issue with this is you're basically kind of SOL until this ticks out, because no one's going to fight. So you're just waiting for this to untick, basically. But normally, I would say the last like 5 games, that doesn't actually happen, and they don't declare. So again, RNG, not much you can do. Once this war ends and I can actually do my actions of releasing people, I'll come back. But for now, what you want to do is keep the closest to your capital, or what will soon be the capital, because good control, and then you're going to subjugate all this. So let the month tick. Perfect timing. You want this default religious war CB, so always choose admin. And it also gives you the proximity cost reduction. So it's just the correct choice. Rivals, yada yada yada. And then institution growth, we're going to want that. And then for the next rival, you're going to want to choose Bulgaria and then eventually Serbia, so you can intervene in war. It's kind of OP. So now that the month has ticked, we're probably going to... Actually, I don't know if it'll even show it if I don't have a diplomat. Yeah, so we want this. You can get them above loyalty by diplo spending. So let's see what these guys are at. 124, there's no reason to improve with you. 68 will stay with you. You're not in the coalition, so we'll go ahead and do that. You're not in the coalition, so we'll do that. And then we are going to spend on Diplo because we need to increase cultural opinion ASAP, and I think it's worth the, I don't know, 30 gold. If you're more patient than I, feel free to wait the 10 months. But for me, I'm going to go ahead and do this. I mean, basically gonna make it take 3 months and take it off, and then we will probably get coalition to work. So let's go. We're waiting for the. I do trade efficiency always. You're probably going to give this away as a subject, so it doesn't really matter, but you might as well go ahead and choose it if it lets you. Alright, so just to make sure that happens. Boo-hoo. Alright, so now we got the diplomat. We're going to go ahead and... Oh, why did I do that so early? So now, because we have max diplo, even though we're not unpausing, it still affects it. So ask to improve, and now it was at 5, now it's 4.16, and in 50 years you can do it again, and it will lower it even more. So the fact we got it done in 1342 is real nice. Now let's just see if we can avoid a coalition. Let's see, is there anyone that's like right on the edge? Well, Genoa's out, that's good. Oh, don't be like me, and don't forget to turn this off. Put this back on decentralized. I mean, we're already at 64 almost. That's huge. Most of our subjects are loyal. I would say about half. They'll get more loyal. It's fine. So we're basically just waiting on if the coalition will declare. Let's go ahead and look at the organizations. In your game, you might not have this. If you'll probably not have to take all this in one war, or you can choose not to. Or you can use the exploit at the end where it doesn't matter. So they are stronger as far as they're concerned, but I think we are actually stronger with all of our subjects. So yeah, once this dang war ends, we can do the rest. So I'm going to cut it until something else happens, or I can show you how I release, or who I release. Alright, so this is the Crusade that they launched against me. I'm going to peace out for 88 ducats. You can keep waiting. They're not going to do anything, but I want to get out the war so I can release stuff, so we'll give them 88. You can also humiliate yourself. Might be a better option, but either or, doesn't matter. Now we're not at war anymore. And I can show you how I release subjects. This isn't all that important, but basically I'm going to keep all of this and subjugate all of this by province and mix it up with vassals. So Thessaly, do vassal, just some old person I don't care about. Goodbye. We're going to give this to Epirus. There is a gold mine here, so there is an argument to be made to keep this, but until you get maritime presence, you're not going to have much control, so I give it off. You can choose. It might be better to keep it, but for now, I'm going to give it away. Whenever you select this, be careful who you choose. Don't give away any cabinet members if you want them. These are safe, they're just quarters, they're in your cabinet, or in your selection for cabinets, but they don't have anything currently. Go ahead and do a fiefdom, just mix them up in there. We'll give him that province. And just be careful when you select these, don't select the wrong one, 'cause I've done that and, you know, bit myself. We'll do another fiefdom. And then this guy, this will be the last one that we do on the mainland. And then Limnos, which are the islands. And then this over here. And one more. And then basically we will give, once we have a diplomat, we'll give this province to him, this to Epirus, and these two to these two subjects. So now we're over here, and we'll give this to one of these guys. So we're adjacent to him, we're adjacent to Germiyanids, and we're adjacent to Arachnids. You can get lucky and have Jailerids collapse pretty early, and you don't have to fight them. I mean, right now it's a pretty close war, but it's not that close. I would go for Germiyanids first, and then go for Arachnids. Right now you kind of... I realized Hungary was doing things over here. Basically, go for everyone you can. If they haven't collapsed before, get as strong as possible. So get these guys, and then go for them. You don't need these guys. If you want to wait, it's fine. Give them more time to collapse. But basically, I go for him, and then I'd go for Arachnids over here. And again, don't vassalize them. Take all their land and release each province as a subject. Otherwise, it's going to take 30 years to 40 years, 50 years to annex them. So, and you don't really want to annex like the center here. You want to annex the coast. So it's not worth taking the whole thing. Do piecemeal, unless it's like you absolutely can't because you don't have enough war score. So there is cases like that. Then you can decide if you want to do a second war or not. So that'll be up to you. But basically from here, this is a good start. You're pretty strong. You're building up your RGOs. Don't really worry about marketplaces until all your valuable RGOs are increased. You're not going to have the highest market advantage until the Black Death. Once the Black Death happens, you're going to get it. Something happens with Venice, or maybe it's a separate event, but it's around the time of the Black Death or after the Black Death. That day off, and you'll have the highest advantage. You can build marketplaces to overcome that, but you're going to need quite a few. But build RGOs, and there is one important building that you need now, or once the capital changes. So we should get an event. Now, this is how you move your capital. Always choose fitting capital. Costs money. And we are negative. So as long as you have enough income to cover the negative balance, you don't have to take a loan. So that's fine. So now that this is our capital, there is a very important building that we want, and that is the Royal Garden. This is how you get diplomats without having to spend dip cap in your balance tab. So plus 0.2, super great. It costs 132. Sometimes you don't have enough gold in the market yet to upgrade it, so just upgrade this gold RGO and then you'll eventually get it, but you want this ASAP. Other than that, upgrade RGOs, then move to marketplaces, sawmills, stuff like that, bridges for proximity. Once you get to 100 decentralization, move to another value to push to. Aristocracy. I basically go down the list typically just because it's easiest. And integrate these provinces. These two are the most important because you're going to get the most proximity, but I mean, might as well let them finish. And then you can go for this after. You can also put it out to a vassal, whatever. Your choice. I keep it. It's not too far from the capital. Also, you can I can't do it right now. I'll 1 month tick, so it shows me the options. Oh, I took a loan because, yeah, whatever. Anyways. So, they're no longer a vassal, so we'll take Serbia. Perfect. Intervene in wars. Anyways, lost my train of thought there. I got distracted. Oh, okay. Yes. Sorry about that. So you can enforce culture, and you're going to want to do that on everyone but Epirus. Do not swap their culture. You need them to increase culture opinion one more time, and hopefully they do the same back to you. Just helps with base vassalize everyone later because it gives opinion. But for you, it reduces the amount of accepted cultures. You can convert the stuff to make it cost even less. And it helps with pop satisfaction. That'd be -10 if it was an X still. So, again, 50-year cooldown. So 1390 or whatever for me. I'd want to do that again. And then I could think about annexing them. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Expand here. Continue over here. Once you get Eretnids, if the Jailirids collapses, this guy here, he has 15 subjects. You get a parliament claim on him and get pretty much all of this land for free. And it's great. And then you can also go for Georgia. And once you're strong enough, you can go for Egypt. So Egypt sometimes goes for Sicilia. You want to keep playing this game where if you take Eretnids or the Karamanids, you want to keep this province here because it's adjacent to both. Then you can give this province back. The reason I take this is just in case they have like really strong allies or something like that. But if you plan ahead, you can probably just take this province and not take that. But again, if Gelerids collapse, I usually go for these before Germanids just because I don't want anything silly to happen. But sometimes Egypt takes Sicilia, and the important part here is this press claims works within Anatolia. Egypt has this one single Anatolian province. So as long as they hold that directly, they don't release that for some reason, you can use this press claims on them. It's very important when you do it and you fight them, you beat them off, and then you can take a peace deal. Do not take this until the very last war where you can full annex them. It's going to require you to wait till the imminent peace selection, which lets you enforce whatever options you want that's underneath 100 war score. So you're going to wait for that to time out, and then you can take all this stuff without worrying about the, oh, I'm too fractured penalty. So first war, second war, you might have to do it as well. First war, definitely wait for that, and don't take this province. Basically, you want to take down the coast here, take Cairo all the way down to here, and then take the rest as you can. And then if you Serbia and Bulgaria declare a war on someone and you can intervene, that's what you want to do. And right now, perfect example. You can intervene in this war. They're at war with Trebizond because of that Byzantine War. By full annexed them, so it didn't peace out for whatever reason. You might be able to intervene in this war, and the CB for that, you can get 15 war score and take half of Bulgaria. It's OP. The issue, and why I'm not going to do that here, is my antagonism is already super high. I don't want Hungary to come in. I don't want Naples to come in. But I might do it just for one province, two provinces. Anything's free, and it puts them on a peace treaty, so it's less worrying for the coalition. So right now would actually be a good time to do that. Basically, yeah, you just want to keep expanding. Go here, max out RGOs. They go to markets, and then you want to get burger buildings. You want to make sure they're always promoting, and that's pretty much it. Make sure you really subjects one province at a time. Annex the coast first around 1400. You want to start doing that. You want to annex these two guys pretty quickly. I mean, there's like a 20-year cooldown or 10-year, whatever it is. Do this semi-quickly. This guy the quickest, and then you really have to worry about dip cap. That's your biggest thing. And just don't stop expanding. Try to improve relations to reduce antagonism and go. The other thing is, with all these subjects, you're going to have one other thing. So you need 100 locations by 1400. So make sure you have 100 directly, not from subjects. You own 100 before 1400, or this will end and you'll lose the press claim CB. Other thing is, once you hit 120 directly owned, you get press claims that can work in the Balkans. Because I'm using so many subjects, I tend to get that so late it almost doesn't matter. So you can decide if you want to keep these and get to 120 or these. I don't think it's worth it. I just wait for DS full and I focus over here. But depending on, you know, if you can fight these guys or whatnot, you might want to do that. But subjects are very strong in this patch. You can keep them loyal with decentralization, so max that out ASAP. It doesn't take that long. It means 1343. We're almost there. Less than a year. So yeah, it's great. So that's the starting moves, and that's pretty much all I have. Let me know if you have any questions or pretty much anything. I'm in the Discord. You can add me on there. I've got 170, 180 hours all on the Ottomans. So hope you enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts. Like, comment, subscribe. Love to hear your feedback. See you.